He spotted a business opportunity right there at the airport. Every abandoned luggage cart returned to the machine paid out 25 cents. Some passengers were just too lazy to bring them back themselves. Victor started collecting them, returning each one for a quarter. 75 cents in the pocket just like that. He headed straight to the burger place and grabbed himself a meal. 2 days stuck in this airport, and he was finally getting a proper bite to eat. With a taste of success, Victor went all in on card collecting, spent the whole afternoon hustling across the terminal. By the end of it, he had enough for a full combo meal. But Dixon spotted the whole operation and immediately assigned staff to handle card returns. Just like that, Victor's income stream was cut off. Dixon's whole plan was to make things uncomfortable enough that Victor would break the rules and try to sneak out, so he could finally have a reason to remove him. Meanwhile, Enrique, who worked food service at the airport, was about to throw Victor a lifeline. For now, all Victor had was free crackers. Back in Cracovia, he never could have imagined things would go this sideways. A few days earlier, Victor had just landed in America when a coup back home made his passport legally worthless.
Sir, I have an IBIS hit on 6.
Victor's passport was confiscated. Dixon set him up in the airport lounge, banned from stepping onto U.S. soil. He'd have to wait until his country ended its war, formed a recognized government, or until someone in the system figured out what to do with him. They handed him a pager and told him it would go off when the time came. But with the language barrier, Victor could barely get around, and the money from home was now just paper. That night he wandered into an abandoned gate area, pulled out a peanut can, not food inside, but a promise he'd come to America to keep. He pushed 2 rows of seats together to make a bed, and that was that. The second he lay down, a landing plane rattled the windows and lit up the whole place. The next morning, Dixon noticed Victor walking around in his pajamas. Not exactly a good look for the terminal. After cleaning up in the restroom, Victor went to the processing desk to apply for a visa. No passport, no visa. Rejected without a second thought. Dixon, meanwhile, was puzzled. Why was this guy still here? He'd put Victor in that lounge expecting him to quietly slip out. He hadn't counted on someone this stubborn. From this point on, the game between these two was officially on.
Everything he does comes back to me.
You want to bring him back to the holding cell?
No. I'll show him the door.
Victor stood there eyeing the food in the shops, and eventually just built himself a cracker sandwich. Right then Dixon showed up. He pulled Victor aside and let him in on a little secret. During the noon shift change, there was a 5-minute window when the guards would be off post. One shot, that's it. The subtext was clear, just walk out. But Dixon wasn't doing him any favors. It was a setup to catch him in the act. The guards got the signal and stepped away. Freedom was right there. Victor was ready to go for it. Then a flight attendant walked by out of nowhere and stopped him cold, and that's when he noticed the camera slowly tracking him. He stepped forward, it moved forward.
Alright, it's gotta get a running start, I guess. Alright, come on, Victor. Just leave. Just leave. 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 What are you doing? What's he doing? Why is he kneeling? Is he praying?
No, he's trying to shoot
Do they
us.
pray at
See?
noon? Isn't that?
Victor confirmed he was being watched. Suddenly he looked straight at the camera, and Dixon immediately spun it the other way. Victor slipped into the camera's blind spot and disappeared, leaving Dixon completely in the dark. Then he reappeared just as suddenly and told Dixon flat out he'd keep waiting. Dixon had been at this job 17 years and had never dealt with anything like this. Victor found 2 books in the airport bookstore, one in English, one in his own language, and just taught himself by comparing them side by side. Bit by bit, he started being able to follow the news. Every day he'd show up at the processing desk, and by now the officer there knew him well enough to have her stamps ready. Victor, for his part, had a great attitude about it. The way he saw it, there were only 2 possible stamps, so he had a 50-50 shot at a visa every single day. Enrique had been watching all of this quietly from the sidelines. One night Victor got back to his gate and found Enrique already there waiting.
We need to talk.
He wanted to make a deal. Victor would dig up everything he could about the visa officer Dolores.
You help me to win her heart and you'll never go hungry again.
From that day on, Victor became the designated wingman. Every day he'd find a way to ask Dolores about her likes and interests. Then one day Victor's pager went off. He went up to Dixon's office. Dixon had found a way to get him out, asylum. All Victor had to do was answer one question, and he could walk out that night. Victor thought easy, but when Dixon asked the question,
Do you, at this time, have any fear of returning to your own country?
No.
Dixon was floored. Was this guy for real? He explained it over and over, hoping Victor would get the hint. But Victor wasn't afraid of going home, even with the bombs falling.
He's home. I'm not fed from my home.
And just like that, the chance was gone. There was a janitor at the airport who had a bit of a hobby. Every time he mopped a floor, he'd hang back and enjoy watching people wipe out on it. One day a flight attendant slipped and went down hard. Victor rushed over to help her up. Her heel had snapped off. She could barely walk. Victor pulled out a voucher for free shoes and handed it to her. He assumed it was a move, but it turned out Amelia was already taken. Then one day she ran into him again. Victor found out the man she was with already had a wife. Amelia was flying extra shifts just to pass through and catch a glimpse of him. But that day he didn't show. Victor handed her a handkerchief, and that's how their connection started. Amelia asked what he did for a living. Victor played it up, told her he was in construction. Before he could get caught in the lie, he stood to leave. But Amelia was forward about it and invited him out for some Italian bracioles she said he'd love. Victor obviously couldn't leave the terminal, so he turned her down. Amelia took it the wrong way, thought he was calling her easy.
Off like a complete nut job or something.
No.
It's just, I didn't want to eat alone. You ever done that before?
Wet floor.
And just like that, Amelia walked away. Victor knew he needed to be able to actually take her out next time, so he set out to find a job inside the terminal. He tried shop after shop. Some laughed in his face over his immigration status. Others just said no. Only one place told him to wait for a call back and asked for a number. Victor gave them the payphone number. He refused to leave that phone all day so he wouldn't miss the call. The call finally came that evening, but the answer was never going to be yes.
Oh,
Hi, Mr. Navorski.
yes, this is Viktor Navorski who calls.
It's Cliff, the manager of the Discovery Store.
Cliff. Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Is this a good time?
Yes, Cliff, I wait for your call the whole day.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I gotta tell you that the position's been filled.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
so could you please go sit someplace else?
Yeah, I go to a bathroom now.
That'd be good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You okay?
On his way back, Victor passed a construction site under renovation. Nothing else to do, so he rolled up his sleeves and spent the entire night finishing a wall. Old trade, old habits. He stood back and admired his work with genuine pride, completely unaware the crew had been watching. The foreman took one look and decided this guy knew what he was doing. Victor walked away with the job on the spot.
You give me job? 6:30, yes, boss.
That night, he found a map Enrique had left for him. Victor followed it to Enrique's secret spot, and found Gupta and Mora already there. Gupta was convinced Victor was a spy with a wire on him. To clear the air, Victor had to walk through the X-ray scanner. That finally put the old man at ease. Victor was officially one of them. Then word came down that inspectors were coming to evaluate Dixon for a promotion. But Dixon's attention was laser-focused on Victor. Victor was pulling in $19 an hour, more than Dixon himself. Everyone in the terminal started placing bets on when Victor would finally leave. Dixon was desperate to get rid of him.
Bring him in.
He had Victor locked in a holding room and made calls to every agency trying to hand him off. No one would take him. Victor had become a hot potato nobody wanted. That afternoon the inspector arrived. Dixon was running the checkpoint when he spotted suspicious luggage coming through. He cracked open box after box. Contraband in every single one. Dixon's instincts were flawless. Just then the security chief pulled him aside. There was an emergency upstairs. An Eastern European passenger was getting worked up, refusing to let his medication get confiscated. With no one else to translate, Dixon had to bring Victor in. Victor asked Dixon to stamp him green in exchange. With no other option, Dixon agreed. Victor's Caucasian was close enough to the man's Russian to get through to him. The man calmed down. Dixon then had Victor tell him that the medication still needed proper authorization to leave with him. Victor learned the full story. The man had bought the medicine in Canada, and it was the only thing keeping his father alive. Dixon didn't care. No authorization, no medicine. The man was devastated when he heard the rules. He dropped to his knees right there and begged Dixon to make an exception. But rules were rules, and Dixon's hands were tied. The man made one last desperate lunge for the medication and got pinned down by guards. Victor watched helplessly as they dragged him away. Then he called Dixon back. He told him the medicine was for a goat. If the rules said he couldn't bring it in for his father, then fine. It was livestock medicine. Dixon knew exactly what Victor was doing. He made the man say it himself, out loud, that it was for a goat. Victor translated what to say. The man just stood there, lost. Dixon wanted to cut it short and have the guards take him away.
Goat. Medicine for goat. Medicine for goat. Medicine for goat. Medicine for goat.
Give him the pills.
And just like that, Victor saved him. Dixon yanked Victor aside, furious.
Do you think this is a game? Huh? Do you think I need an excuse to put you back in that cell to keep you there for another 5 years? You go to war with me, you go to war with the United States of America. And then you will know when that fight is over why the people of Krakosia wait in line for cheap toilet paper while Uncle Sam wipes his ass with Charmin 2-ply.
Gupta told the story to everyone, adding enough flair to turn Victor into a full-on legend. The next day, Victor walked out to find the whole terminal looking at him differently. His face was up in every single shop. Dixon's review ended up going fine. The inspector told him that sometimes you have to set aside the rulebook and focus on the people. A little more empathy wouldn't hurt, and maybe he should take some notes from Victor. In the end, Dixon had still lost. He called Victor in. Victor even came with a gift, trying to smooth things over. But Dixon had no interest in ending this. As long as he was in charge, Victor wasn't going anywhere.
You don't like fish.
With help from his friends, Victor tracked down Amelia's flight schedule. Together they set up a perfectly engineered accidental encounter. When Amelia walked into the lounge, she had no idea she was already in the middle of a trap. Enrique pulled his cart right in front of her, forcing her to change direction. Just ahead, Gupta was mopping, another detour. An exit was blocked off with caution tape. Step by step she followed the route they'd laid out without realizing it. Then Mora stepped into her path one last time, and she fell right into Victor's arms. The long-planned romantic collision had finally landed. Victor struck while the iron was hot, and asked her to dinner that night. The venue was hosted by none other than Gupta himself. A candlelit dinner for two. Mora played waiter, Enrique stepped in as bartender, and Gupta turned out to have some serious hidden talents to keep the mood going. Amelia had figured out the whole setup long before, but she didn't say a word. She opened up to Victor, said she knew she looked young, but she was actually 39. She'd been in this line of work since she was 18. Then 7 years ago she met that man. She kept the pager on her at all times just in case he called. Victor told her she could just turn it off, but after so many years she'd gone numb. He lived out of hotels, never had a real home, always on call, always available. Amelia had lost herself in the waiting, half her life spent holding on, and she didn't even know what she was holding on for. The pager started buzzing like crazy. Amelia excused herself early and stepped outside. Victor followed. He came clean about his own situation. He was waiting too, for the day his pager would finally go off. Before he could finish explaining, Amelia's pager buzzed again. Something hit her. She stepped out onto the balcony overlooking the terminal and held the pager out over the edge, ready to throw it and walk away from the uncertainty for good. She left Victor with something to look forward to next time.
You know what Napoleon gave to Josephine when he went Bavaria?
Victor meant to shake Amelia's hand goodbye, but ended up kissing her instead. That night he stayed up at the fountain area under renovation and got to work on a surprise for her. The next day Enrique came to him with a big ask. Victor went back to Dolores at the desk. Only this time, there was a ring.
He waits for you to answer. That Sbarro.
I have to work.
He will wait.
Enrique finally got his Dolores. She put on the ring. The two of them got married right there in the airport. 13 days later, Amelia stepped off a flight and was stopped immediately by security. Dixon had noticed the peanut can Victor was always carrying and wanted answers, and he figured Amelia was his way in. He asked her how well she really knew Victor. The way Dixon saw it, Victor and Amelia were the same, both just waiting, both without a real home. But he laid out Victor's full situation to her. Victor waited for Amelia and she never came. He headed back to his gate, defeated. But Amelia had been there the whole time waiting for him.
I guess you missed your flight again. Or maybe you have it. A really bad travel.
Please, sit.
It's okay, Victor. All men lie.
She told Victor she'd ended things with that man, but she'd also lost her trust in Victor. He brought her to see the gift he'd made for her. The original story was that Napoleon gave Josephine 1,000 fountains as a gift, but the fountain wasn't working, not a drop of water. Amelia didn't care about the fountain. It was the gesture. No one had ever done anything like this for her. She asked Victor directly, was he a fugitive or what? He finally pulled out the peanut can. The whole reason he'd come to America was to keep a promise. Inside the can were autographs. Victor's father had passed away, but when he was young he'd come across a famous photo, 57 jazz musicians all in one shot. His father had spent years writing letters to every single one of them asking for their signatures. He waited over 40 years and collected 56 out of 57. The last one was the only thing left unfinished. Victor had come to America alone just to complete his father's wish. But the way he saw it, maybe it was his father who'd brought him here, so he could meet Amelia. And with that, Amelia let her guard down. She was finally his. The next morning, his three friends woke him up. The war in Cracovia was over. Everyone was cheering for Victor. Victor spotted Amelia and rushed over to pull her to her feet. She had no idea what was happening. He was holding a document. It was a one-day emergency visa, one his friend had paid a real price to get for him. But Amelia was leaving Victor.
Amelia, why you go? Why you go?
You know what Napoleon gave Josephine as a wedding present? It was a gold locket. And on the inside, he made an inscription. Destiny.
Destiny.
She had gone back to that man. She left Victor a ticket to his final destination. She gave everything for him to have this moment. Victor went to Dolores at the desk, but Dolores told him the document still needed Dixon's signature. Victor tracked down Dixon. He'd already gotten the promotion. Dixon handed back Victor's passport and told him to go home. But the war was over. Victor had every right to go to New York and finish what he came here to do. Dixon pulled out his real card, Victor's three friends. Play along and go back to Cracovia quietly, or they all go down with him. Muller had worked at that airport for 20 years. One more infraction and he'd lose his entire pension.
And I think he has kids, too.
Enrique had just gotten married, and he'd broken the rules letting Victor into the kitchen. And Gupta had a record back in India. He was hiding from it.
I'll have to deport him.
I will go home.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I will go home. Leave them alone, I will go.
Today.
Yes.
If you don't get on that plane, Victor, they're all gone.
Yes, yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
So Victor walked to the departure gate. His friends, completely in the dark, kept trying to talk some sense into him. Gupta was the harshest, told Victor he was this close to the finish line and didn't have the guts to cross it.
You are a coward.
Victor said nothing. He walked away while Gupta was still talking.
You are a coward!
A guard stepped in front of him, but then he explained to the others why Victor had done what he did. Victor noticed the guards suddenly scrambling. He followed everyone's gaze toward the tarmac. Gupta was out there with a mop, standing in front of Victor's return flight, blocking it from leaving.
I'm going home! Get lost!
He had just handed Victor every reason he needed to keep going.
Will somebody please tell me what the hell is going on down there?
Victor picked up his bag and walked with purpose. Every shop worker who'd watched him live in this terminal for months stepped out with a send-off gift. Dixon wasn't about to let him just stroll out. He radioed every guard to block the exit. The guard who'd been following Victor had no choice but to fall back in line. Dixon ordered the chief to take him down. He told Victor to turn around. Don't panic. The chief took off his jacket and draped it over Victor's shoulders.
It's snowing in the city, and you're gonna need that. Good luck.
Arrest him! Arrest him! God!
And just like that, with everyone cheering him on, Viktor walked out of the airport that had held him for 9 months. As he was about to get in a car and go, he ran into Amelia. They looked at each other and smiled. Then each of them went toward their own fate. By the time Dixon came running out, Viktor was already gone. A guard asked if he should lock down the airport. Dixon thought about it, and finally let it go.
Everybody inside. Everybody inside. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
Viktor arrived at the place he'd been working toward this whole journey. His father's favorite musician was just about to perform. He asked Viktor to wait, let him finish playing first, then he'd sign. And so Viktor kept his father's promise.
Where you want to go?
I am going home.